Russia's putting out a shower of lies about many things, but in particular, there's no truth at all to the idea that which they're putting out, that the United States somehow has secret biological weapons facilities in Ukraine. What is true is that in Ukraine, as in pretty much every other country, there are biological research facilities working on public health. And sometimes facilities like that handle some dangerous germs. And so the United States, over the years, has helped them make sure that those facilities are safe and secure. And obviously, it would be a problem if one of those facilities were to get smashed in the fighting, just as it would be a problem at a nuclear plant. It would certainly be illegal to use a chemical weapon. A chemical weapon is something that's intensely toxic. There are a variety of different kinds. A biological weapon is something that's either a virus or a bacteria, or it's a poison created by living things, which is called a toxin, which is sort of a biologically created chemical weapon in a certain sense. Use of either of those is banned under international law, but it is quite conceivable that Russia might decide to use them and then try to claim that no, it was the Ukrainians, or it was the Americans, or it was whoever else who did it. Which, by the way, they tried to do in Syria when the Syrian government used chemical weapons. Well, nuclear power plants are very robust facilities with huge concrete containment structures to protect them. So a stray bullet here or there is not going to be a problem for a nuclear power plant. But cutting off the electricity is a problem because of this ongoing heat that the reactors generate. You need electricity to run pumps and so on. So far, however, the Russians appear to have not be actually intending to cause a radioactive release. They could very easily do so at the site that they're in control of. And so if they wanted that to happen, it probably would have happened by now. So far, it's really an issue of, could fighting inadvertently lead to an accident rather than, shelling intended to lead to an accident. But when you're talking about nuclear war, you're talking about something else entirely. With two, what would be considered today very small nuclear weapons, the United States obliterated the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki at the end of World War II. And today there are thousands of nuclear weapons in the world, more than 90% of them held by either Russia or the United States. And that is definitely looming in the background of this crisis. Right now, there is a shooting war in the middle of Europe, and it's conceivable that nuclear weapons will be used. I think it's unlikely. I wished I thought it was inconceivable, but I think it's very, very unlikely that it would be between the United States and Russia. I think it's much more likely that Russia might, for example, use a nuclear weapon to try to shock the Ukrainians into submission if the war was going badly. There's a good amount of good news with respect to nuclear weapons as well. 85% roughly of all the nuclear weapons that the world used to have are gone. They've been dismantled. More than half of all the countries that used to have potential nuclear weapon material on their soil have gotten rid of it. There are only 9 states out of almost 200 countries in the world that have nuclear weapons. And 35 years ago, there were 9 states that had nuclear weapons. So we've managed to stem the spread of nuclear weapons, even through the collapse of the Soviet Union and all the chaos following that, a global black market nuclear network that was led by Pakistan's A.Q. Khan, secret nuclear weapons programs that were taking place in North Korea, Iran, Syria, Iraq, Libya, To get through all of that with no net increase is really an amazing public policy success story.